Well, after getting permission last night from the Odawa Casino, we spent the night here. There's the sunlight coming in the sky, and I think we're gonna take the bridge and go over to the UP this morning. Across the street, we see a group of little cottages, which reminds us of our honeymoon. On our honeymoon in 1966, we paid $7 or $9, something like that, to stay in a cold water cabin. Who knows, those could be the very ones. There's a sign for the ferry if you wanted to take the ferry to Mackinaw. Of course, we used to have to take a ferry across the straits when I was a child, before the Mac opened up in the 60s, I believe. Okay, let's get some Michigan terms here. The Mighty Mac is the name for the Mackinac Bridge, which we are now approaching. This is the bridge that divides Michigan into two parts. The Upper Peninsula and the Lower Peninsula. Most of you know that. What you may not know is that the strong, self-reliant people of the Upper Peninsula call themselves Upers, as in UP, for Upper Peninsula. Michiganders talk about the UP and everybody knows what it is. But anyway, I was talking about the Upers, and they call the people of the Lower Peninsula the Trolls, because troll is what lives under the bridge. So there you have some Michigan terms. This is one of the longest suspension bridges, or used to be, in the world. It was considered quite a engineering marvel back in the day. Past the first span. The second span. Okay, we're over the bridge, and you'll probably see the toll gate up there. We're trying something this year that we haven't done before. If you look on the map here, you can see that US-2 begins here, goes all the way across the U.S. and ends, I believe, in Everett, Washington, north of Seattle. So, we decided that we're going to try to drive part of US-2 this season. We're starting in mid to late August, but it feels more like September. It's cool at night and in the 70s during the day. But that's good for us because it means the mosquitoes are not going to be around. We are in St. Ignace at the where we can look at the bridge view is right about here, and we're going to head up. We've driven this before on our Michigan Circle tour, but we're going to head up this way and follow to across the UP and up into Wisconsin. It's 9 o'clock, and we're heading out across the UP on US-2. Let's see what we can find that's interesting on US-2.
World famous
Mystery spot. That's been around there forever. Here's someone's dream. Outdated old cabins along the highway. We're seeing alternating sand dunes and forests along here. We're going right along Lake Michigan. really good pasty in Houghton last time we were up here. We're going to have to stop for one before we get through Michigan. Smoked fish. Oh, smoked fish. That's another wonderful thing that you see in this area.
Pasties. Homemade pasties.
Homemade pasties.
Not open.
Smoked fish. Yeah, most of these places aren't open. It's a pretty little church. I like that. There's a farmer out standing in his field with a cow that has a feed bag on, or maybe it's a gas mask. Interesting. This is Mackinaw, one of the larger cities on 2 in Michigan. There's a nice mural. Oh, and another one over there.
Ben Franklin's store.
A Ben Franklin store. When's the last time you saw something like that?
Bus.
Here's the lighthouse at Mackinaw. We could go out the walk to the lighthouse, but I don't think we're going to do that today. Shipping seems to be big in the history of Mackinaw. There's another antique boat over here, as well as a guy in a really cool bus. Jennifer and Steve traveling in the bus transform.
Yeah.
The happy bus.
Yeah, her name's Seven because that's the number she came with, and
Oh,
so yeah.
and these are their fur babies.
What was Katie?
Come around here, get her front.
Well,
Oh,
there you go.
well.
yeah, that's
Well,
what she does.
Aren't you nice?
She is.
Turn right over for me.
Yeah, gosh.
And then Cody's down
Cody's over there.
Oh, yeah.
Beautiful. What breed are they?
She's a Keeshond and he's an American Mastiff.
Okay. Oh, they're gorgeous. They can certainly take the winter, it looks like.
Yeah, that's why we try to stay cooler.
So, you told me you're artists? And
Yeah. So we do photography transferred to wood that's been torched and fractal burnt.
Do you have a one you could show?
No, actually, because they're in the trailer that we left up by St. Ignace. So,
Okay.
but there is a picture on the card I just gave you.
Oh,
So that's one of them.
isn't that beautiful?
Mm-hmm.
And normally you go around doing art shows or
Yeah, we
Festivals,
do art festivals,
but
but
it's
they've all
been
been canceled so far.
slim pickings
so.
this summer.
Thin pickings, so
Yeah.
lots of travel time, which is good.
Okay.
This is Steve.
Hi, Steve.
Hello, Steve.
Hello.
He's the other one that he did all the electrical and plumbing and framing and all the hard stuff.
Okay.
So
Okay.
Yeah, he does that for ours too.
yeah, he's amazing.
So you
So-
guys, how long have you been doing
Only
this?
2 months. So
2 months full time?
yeah.
But you, how many years before that? I mean,
We didn't. He
Oh.
did. So he had a conversion van
okay.
that he lived in while he was doing art festivals.
Okay.
So he was doing art on his own.
Oh,
Then
okay.
we met. Then I was watching him having all the fun of traveling and doing stuff while I was working. And I said,
This is
"All
no
right,
good, right?
Yeah, this isn't good." So I asked him if he would live on a bus with me, and he said yes. And
Wow.
2 weeks later, we bought it.
How about
That's
Got
that?
it.
Was it already painted or did
No.
you did that yourself?
Yeah, it was yellow and no seats, so we had to
Okay.
tear everything out.
A school bus.
Yeah. So yeah, it was yellow and yeah. So
Nice.
So you're living in it full time and you
Yep.
don't have a house and
no house.
And I
that's
see you
great.
have solar panels on the roof.
We do. We have 4.
Cool.
And
Soon
air
to be
conditioner.
6. Yeah, we haven't used the AC yet, so
Yeah.
we don't know.
Well, that's great. We wish you all the best.
As we do you, and we hope to see your stealth cargo van around more.
Well, if you go, we're parked downtown. You can turn that off. This is a living waters map of the UP, and down in the corner is where we are,
The diamond.
where the diamond is in Mackinaw City. Yes, Michigan is also very well known for stone. We've taken State Route 183 down the Garden Peninsula and are heading toward the ghost town of Fayette. It's 17 miles off of US-2, but we will be going back to the same place where we went on. Well, this is the historic town of Fayette. Iron ore producer. I'm a little disappointed. I expected broken down buildings and stuff, like we saw at Copper Harbor.
It's sad. It's not broken down.
I like ruins.
You can actually.
Here's one of the ore furnaces. That is one humongous pile of charcoal. Here's what it looked like back in the day when the boats brought in raw ore and left with finished pig iron. And here's the harbor the way it looks today. Here's a view of the outside of the kiln, of the furnaces. And over there is the charcoal kiln. There were 80 of these in the area back in the day. The company store, the company offices, the machine room over there. Looks a little bit like a fire station. And then behind me we have the hotel, which is a large, actually 3-story building with 2 stories and an attic. The laborers could live here for 10 or 15 cents a day, 15 for a private room, 10 cents for a shared room. This is the desk. If you were paying guests, it was $1 or $1.50 a night. Now these large rooms were probably the dining room and living area for the people who lived here. There were 19 bedrooms upstairs, and the hotel guests had a 2-story outhouse. This building is closed, but it looks like it was a school. I'm taking pictures through the window. Looks like they had some fun and games too. As you walk along here, thinking how at one time it used to be a neighborhood. Of course, it was 100 years ago, more than 100 years ago. The company closed in 1891, and most of the people left or got other jobs, and now it's mostly fishing, tourism, and some farming.
Post office functioned until 50.
And here's the doctor's house. Evidently this is still the middle class neighborhood, including that duplex we saw back there. Interesting. Well, the company owned the homes, I think, and the people paid rent. So when the company folded, the homes just stood empty. This house has an early golf cart. They used it to pick up the workers?
Yeah, the ones who were sick and they didn't have enough strength to walk to work. So
Yeah. See, here is the livery stables with the hotel's 2-story outhouse located next to it. Okay, this is Laborers Alley, where the common workers lived. There were 30 small log cabins. Okay, this is the superintendent's house. This is the most classy house in the building. This was pine doors, and an artist painted it to resemble oat grain. Huh. I guess they would start out like this. And then we paint them. I would not have said that was painted. Even the richest people had the little house out back.
Everybody has to do it.
There's a nice view of the ore refinery from across the harbor. Here's our last view of the ghost town, downtown. The furnaces, the harbor. Very interesting. So we enjoyed our adventures on the Garden Peninsula, coming down here to Fayette, spending a couple hours down there. Now we've come back up and we're heading into Escanaba. Well, we finally found our pasties. How is it?
Delicious.
This is Dauber's Pasties in Escanaba, Michigan.
I don't see the chicken.
No, it's in.
Oh, that's right. I don't have any up there. Oh, okay, my bad. I'm sorry.
And it's like we like them with the with the thin crust and lots of beef and potatoes and onions and stuff.
These are not frozen, but they're so fresh.
Here's where they make the ovens where they make the pasties. All these things are Yooper souvenirs that you can buy. Oh, I like this. Upper Michigan, Yooper Soul Food, pasty capital of the world. Love it. And here's a picture of that Yooper flag.
Yeah.
Just keep going. There's the lighthouse. I think we stopped here before, maybe even got a letterbox on a different trip. 1867.
Yeah, that looks like a theater place too, doesn't it?
Typical 150-year-old downtown. In a lot of these towns, the buildings date to the same age when the iron and lumber industries were booming. We're a few miles south of Norway, Michigan, and saw a sign for Piers Gorge. And it's supposedly a gorge on the border between, oh, maybe that's the viewing area, between Michigan and Wisconsin. So we're taking this road to see if we can find out where it is and what it is. What do they call that one? Volkswagen Rapids? Volkswagen Rapids. Yeah. And the year I went down, the water was high enough that they would stop the raft and you could get out. And they had one of the guys would pull you in. You could sit underneath of it and the water would go over you. And so you could sit there and have the water going over you. Okay. What are your names?
Ellen. Eileen. Patty.
Hi. We are Art and Bonnie. Art and Bonnie.
Bonnie?
Yeah.
Hi, Bob.
Yep.
I'm sure you've heard that. Here's what
Here's the raft. These guys passed us on the trail, and we want to see them come over the rapids. There's 4 people in a raft. Okay, we hear them. They're back there somewhere.
Okay.
There they are. Wow.
Round down the falls. See the green boat?
They made it without losing anybody.
They're on their way
when the water's low?
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
No, don't
good
worry.
job.
He's a professional. We got a professional back there, so
Oh,
we're good.
did you spin around at one point? Were you Were you backwards at one point? It was hard to see from my
A little
hand.
sideways, but I don't think
Okay,
backwards.
never went backwards. Good job, guys. That was awesome.
Great. Beautiful.
Well, our new friends from the trail told us about this spring right by the side of the road, and we're going to stop and get some water from it. Oh, that looks delicious. Even if there is a COVID warning. You are?
Yeah.
Oh dear. Oh, you finally figured out how to do it. With a little shelf there you can put your bottle on. Over those narrow neck bottles, it takes a while to fill up. Well, he got all soaked, and his shirt is soaked, and his pants are soaked. What?
Look over there.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm going to take a drink from the water fountain.